BJP legislator Rekha Gupta was sworn in as the Delhi Chief Minister on Thursday, marking the return of the party to power in the city after about a period of 27 years. Now, what is in store for this new government and what is the road ahead? We'll discuss all of this and more in today's episode of Political Adda. For this episode, you have me, Apoorva Mandhani. We have with us Mr. Shekhar Iyer, who is a political analyst. He was the senior associate editor of Hindustan Times and political editor of Deccan Herald. And we have with us my colleague Neelam Pandey, who covers politics and the BJP for the print. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Iyer. To start off with this new government in Delhi, the first question off the bat is what the sort of challenges that you expect BJP to face?
Thank you, Apoorva. Tremendous challenges, tremendous. Right from day one onwards, because of the high expectation and the kind of mandate, the people of Delhi would be expecting some immediate result on the ground. And that will be in terms of, it can be from the condition of roads, onto quality of drinking water, onto the steps to build houses to replace slums, legalizing the illegal colonies, all those promises. Apart from that, particularly those welfare measures, promise of 2,500 to women, and money for the unemployed, and the scholarships for your students. These are the things that will have to roll out very immediately, maybe in the next 6 months. Now, I believe that this time, with Prime Minister directly involved in how things are going to roll out on the ground, and with the LG office also in the loop, you are going to see a lot in terms of the visibility of those decisions. Because Prime Minister Modi has now staked his own, I would say, his reputation and his guarantee, because this is the first time. Of course, they have done it in other states. I found in Delhi campaign this time, a lot of emphasis was these are the promises, but guarantee. So with so much at stake, and Modi himself saying this is that he is committed to making Delhi a model state, a mini India, to showcase to the rest of the country. So you can see that with Prime Minister directly involved, the whole effort will be to show that things are possible in Delhi. That this and also I think, Apurva, one thing the most BJP legislators as well as Rekha Gupta, who has been chosen as the CM, know is that the whole mantra will be delivery, 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 delivery. That's all, and Prime Minister won't be sparing anyone. That's very very clear, because in terms of composition of the team, people have been chosen on the basis of the social combinations and the kind of support they got from people of Delhi. So all those representation has been done. The social message is done. Now the groundwork. So that will require a lot of commitment, and it's going to be backbreaking for Rekha, because of course Rekha has a record, in terms of being a councillor for the first time in North Pitambura. If you recall, Sheila Dikshit in her last years had broken up the MCD into three municipal corporations so that BJP will not sweep the municipal polls. So that was done, and then they had to brought back, because particularly municipal corporation, North Delhi had financial issues. East Delhi also had a tremendous financial issues. So MCD was brought back. Now, Rekha Gupta, in her locality, in her area, in her constituency, is popular for the reason that Delhi is a typical case where, whether it is election for the municipal wards or for assembly or even for Lok Sabha, it is civic issues that completely dominate in the narrative. It's again back to Nala, Pani, Bijli, Sadak, Makan, Awaz. Same thing comes again and again. And Rekha Gupta is one who has been out, right from the time she became a councillor. She has always been, person who will go around, find out what are the problems. It's like, she'll carry a stick around, and jahan bhi nala jam hua na, she will get into herself to show that, nala saaf karo, ye karo, wo karo. And this is the kind of thing that is the image she has. And she often saying that, mera kaam hi mera pehchan hai, my work is my identity. So she comes with that kind of reputation, and she's very down to earth. So if the Prime Minister has chosen Rekha Gupta, taking into account the fact that she belongs to Bania community, and she herself yesterday in a first response said she's the first woman Bania chief minister of Delhi. So in terms of social messaging, BJP feels that it has ticked the boxes right, and also has chosen a person who will roll up her sleeves and literally get into the act of cleaning up Delhi, fixing all the civic issues of Delhi. Apoorva.
Right. Mr. Iyer, the Aam Aadmi Party has never operated as far as, the opposition is concerned. It has never been there before. How difficult it is going to be for the BJP to sort of handle them. We have seen pictures of senior BJP leaders who have been marshaled out of assembly. But, Aam Aadmi Party, the number is also bigger. There are 22 of them. How difficult and challenging it is going to be for the BJP to handle Aam Aadmi Party as an opposition?
See, Aam Aadmi Party was born in the crucible of opposition movement. So that is not going to be a difficult task for Aam Aadmi Party. That is, the BJP's approach will be do not give any scope for regrowth of Aam Aadmi Party. That is why in my opening remarks I said that delivery will be emphasized all the time by the Prime Minister's office, as well as LG's office, and also from the party, because they know they cannot allow a single slip. And in coming months, the first challenge will be the summer. And everybody expects this summer to be very cruel, which means the drinking water problem will start. BJP had campaigned against the tanker mafia. So right away, the challenge will be drinking water issue. So, and then ensuring that not only you tackle this problem of scarcity of water, which is a very common occurrence during the terrible summer times, then followed by the supply of tanker to slums and to other places. So a lot of issues are there straight away. And then apart from that, question quality of water, because the whole problem of Kejriwal that faced was that he ensured free supply of water to up to certain consumption to a point of certain liters. But the quality of water became an issue. They were getting the water free, but it was unfit for drinking. So those are the issues that will require immediate decisions, whether you need to put up new treatment plants or how you go about it. So there are no dearth of issues for Aam Aadmi Party to straight away show, look, they are doing it badly, we did it better. So therefore, Rekha Gupta and her team of ministers and as well as other legislators, the fact that all the legislators today arrived at the swearing-in ceremony in a bus to convey the message, it's not going to be the responsibility of just these half dozen people who are in the government as ministers or as for each MLA has to deliver not just 48 constituencies, but also in other constituencies where Aam Aadmi Party has come. And Aam Aadmi Party knows very well that BJP understands this challenge, and they are going to also give them quite a tough time, because to start with, the problems will start when the CAG reports are placed in the new assembly. Then action taken report starts. Some cases may be referred to CBI, and Kejriwal personally could be in a lot of legal hassle and legal trouble. So all that will keep the Aam Aadmi Party busy. At the same time, let's not forget there is a lot of internal churning in Aam Aadmi Party. And the fact that leader of the opposition will be Atishi. So you have leader of the opposition, a woman, and you have a chief minister who is a woman. So you are going to see that both the leaders are very committed leaders who are 24/7 kind of leaders. So, and for Atishi, this is her moment. In the sense, she will now come out of the shadow of Kejriwal. So therefore, she is going to be very active. These are the things that the BJP leadership has already taken into account. That's why if Rekha Gupta is the choice of the top BJP leadership, they have ascertained all these issues and how to go about it. And for in terms of supervision, Purva, you will have right from PMO monitoring. Now, question comes, has PMO done such monitoring? Yes. Look at that Pragati experiment that the Prime Minister has been holding every month. Lot of those cabinet decisions which are implemented in collaboration with the states. You have seen Prime Minister undertaking meetings every month. I think probably the last week of every month, where he sits in the Prime Minister's office along with his top team and with the chief secretaries of the concerned government, following up on cabinet decisions that were taken, what is the progress, what are the bottlenecks. So that kind of thing you can start expecting. I believe, my sources tell me that already the Prime Minister's office as well as LG's office have worked out some kind of a time schedule where they are going to look at things to be delivered in 6 months, things that may take up to 2 years. Now, you could ask what could be the things that have a 2-year kind of schedule. I am told it is the Yamuna cleanup, because I believe the Prime Minister has said at least in 2 years people should there is a marked difference in the quality of water in Yamuna. Apoorva.
Mr. Iyer, just to take you back to something that you said earlier about a sort of social messaging with regard to the choices that the BJP has made in within the Delhi government. Now, other ministers were also sworn in along with Rekha Gupta. If you could elaborate a bit on how you see this mix of ministers and what message do you think the BJP is trying to give with the sort of ministers it has chosen for Delhi?
No, well, if you look at in terms of just the social background of each of the people who are sworn in today, you see this time BJP got a good support from communities like Jats, from Dalits, as well as Purvanchal, the people belonging to Bihar and Eastern UP, and you also saw a lot of support coming from the Sikh voters. So, if you look at the representation, you have Sirsa belonging to the Sikh community, you have Kapil Mishra and Pankaj Singh belonging to Purvanchal. Then you have Rekha herself representing the Baniyas, which is also a huge support base for the BJP in Delhi. And apart from that, you have got Parvesh Verma, who belongs to Jat community, and other ministers. If you see that, and Punjabi voters, Punjabi voters have been a traditional support base of the BJP right from in the Jansangh time. Yasir Sood is there. So in that messaging has been done, and each of these leaders, Parvesh Verma, your Ashish Sood, they were also strong. Uh, in the BJP parlance, you don't call them contenders or claimants because nobody can claim anything. They have all decided in terms of suitability and also the situation. So, well, they were all in the, I would call in the media speculation of being front runners. So, therefore, they also know that this is whatever portfolio is given, they will have to show results. And in terms of immediate challenges, like for instance, Apoorva, I would like to mention one problem, which did not dominate the narrative, but it's a common problem which can make a visible difference. That is the transport infrastructure. Well, you have metro lines crisscrossing the city, it connects everywhere, but there are issues connected with the last mile connectivity. Now, the last mile connectivity, for instance, there has been severe shortage of buses in Delhi. I get to hear from a lot of people who travel by buses to their work, whether they are laborers, whether they are daily wage earners. A lot of these people use these buses, and for the last year, 1 year, I've been hearing about shortage of buses. Now there are about 4,000 buses. Probably the requirement is double that number. Of course, there are buses that run on electricity, CNG. Sheila Dikshit was credited for completely phasing out the diesel buses. Now, my I feel, well, this new government could be focusing on that problem. If you can get immediately more buses to run, or come with a scheme where maybe you have a private public partnership, because in the previous government they did try to bring AC buses and try to bring those orange buses, but much more buses are needed. So immediately for the voters, the common voters, the common people, the Aam Aadmi, as we would say. So for them, a visible difference it would make to their lives is if they can catch buses, quickly. Because normally you find, I mean, we don't notice it because probably we don't take buses. I have seen personally in many bus stops or bus stands, huge crowds waiting for a bus. And it takes a long time, sometimes half an hour, 45 minutes. I think that's something which needs immediate relief. So these are issues where they can bring a quick difference and give that slightly a feel good factor apart from the bigger plans that they have in mind, which they have promised. And of course, the big thing will be this rollout of this 2,500 rupees per month, which is the Mahila Yojana. Ladli, I mean, in Maharashtra, they called it Ladli Behna Yojana, or here I think it is called Mahila Samman Yojana. So, I mean, those are things, I mean, women belonging to the very poor sections getting 2,500 rupees on their hands. It's going to make a big difference. So these are the things which I think Rekha Gupta as a chief minister would be paying attention. But these ministers will get, somebody will get transport, somebody will handle, of course, environment is going to be a big issue. But for environment, they have a time till the next winter comes. By then, they have to place some measures to show that 2025, the beginning of, the winter in Delhi in 2025 is different from what it was in, say, when the winter set in 2024. So there is time to put in measures in terms of pollution control. But the other things will have to be done immediately. And as I said earlier, there are some 6-month deadline plans, 1-year deadline plans. And of course, I hear about Yamuna cleanup. At least the first phase of it, the Prime Minister desires should be done in next 2 years. Apoorva.
Right, Mr. Iyer, the BJP during these elections spoke about double engine government, the government at the center and having the same government in Delhi too. But I would like to move forward and move beyond that and ask you about triple engine government that a number of BJP leaders have now been talking about, because they're saying that even MCD will slowly come under them. And one of the reasons that they cite is that the mayor election will be held in April. Already the number has narrowed down as far as the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP is concerned. Also, anti-defection law is not applicable at the municipal level. How do you see, the Aam Aadmi Party is currently in control of the municipal bodies, but municipal corporation. How do you see this will, sort of pan out in the days to come?
Well, it will be I would expect those changes to come in. In a political parlance, it will be a natural course, because after all, MCD budget is about 70,000 crores. And last 2 years, the Aam Aadmi Party cited the track record of BJP in managing MCD affairs in the run up to the 2022 elections. And they secured more wards than the BJP, and they got control. But then they could not do much work, and things did not change, particularly the condition of roads. And for everything, the Aam Aadmi Party always blamed the LG or the central government. Now, the question is, you see, the councillors of Aam Aadmi Party, just as MLAs of Aam Aadmi Party, all of them are, I have not spoken openly, but they all feel with the leadership being caught in a situation like this, and Kejriwal himself losing his seat. All this has given a kind of an awe and shock to each and every elected representative of Aam Aadmi Party. So they themselves may be saying that it's time for a change, because their future also depends on that, because very soon you may have the next round of municipal elections. So that should not be a problem. Now, whether it is double engine or triple engine, but let's know one thing: it's going to be one engine that's going to be very powerful. Rest are going to be, have you seen in the freight cars? You will have, there is a powerful engine in the front, and there are locomotives in between those freight cars. So similarly, I think the driving force will be the Prime Minister himself, the Prime Minister's office, and without appearing to be doing a micromanagement, but leaving the show to Rekha, to the minute details, to the micromanagement. LG, of course, will be playing an important part in terms of supervision and also in monitoring, because the biggest thing that the Prime Minister would want, that the LG to play a role of a monitor. Now, of course, Aam Aadmi Party will say that we didn't get that type of cooperation, we had only confrontation. But then Aam Aadmi Party leaders will have to blame themselves, because Neelam, I recall, when Sheila Dikshit was chief minister, there was a lieutenant governor named Tejendra Khanna, who was a former corporate secretary also. Sheila Dikshit had a lot of issues with Tejendra Khanna, though both were appointed by the Congress government. But Sheila Dikshit, being Sheila Dikshit, and being very diplomatic in approaching certain problems and differences with Tejendra Khanna, she sat down with the lieutenant governor a number of times and sorted out many things. But here from day one, despite Kejriwal and other AAP leaders knowing the peculiar arrangement of Delhi, that Delhi is not a full-fledged state, though it has an assembly, knowing all that, they got into a constitutional war, running to courts, questioning this. Instead of that, they could have sat down and see what can be done. That they didn't do. Right from day one, they thought, we'll make it out as a big battle and put the blame on BJP. Finally, that didn't work. because whatever you could do, you could have done. That was not done. And other than that, Neelam, nobody will forget the incident when Chief Secretary was attacked inside Chief Minister's house. That was the beginning. I mean, that showed that in the presence of Chief Minister Kejriwal, the presence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and all the MLAs present, the Chief Secretary, that is the Prakash, Anshu Prakash, was roughed up. Nobody can forget that. Similarly, Kejriwal ended his tenure with that incident involving Swati Maliwal.
Right.
No matter whatever the personal differences, whatever it is, for a lady to be treated like that in a chief minister's residence, whatever may be the various sides having their own version, but the fact that Swati Maliwal was attacked inside CM's house. Now, all those goes to show, there were a lot of things that shows, look, it was not all about BJP creating hurdles. The very conduct of Kejriwal, very conduct of this government, I mean, the government that just lost power, confidence of the people, could have not got into this at all, because everybody knows what happened in the last 3-4 years. Because first they became ambitious after doing the first step. You see, 2013, they didn't get full majority. They got the support of the Congress, formed the government. As usual, there were problems and the government collapsed. Congress withdrew support. And 2015, people of Delhi gave a handsome mandate. 67 of the 70 seats. I mean, unimaginable. Then, on the basis of the work done in 2015 and the hopes that it had raised, the expectation that it had raised, they got 60 seats in 2020. But what happened after 2020? All the reforms we heard about, mohalla cleaning, about schools, all those things, they started having diminishing returns. They were caught up in this excise policy, then which later turned out to be quite a questionable thing. That's why they abandoned it. Moment Congress leaders filed complaint with the LG. Now, why I'm mentioning all this is they could have handled it better. Perhaps Kejriwal today may be thinking that I could have done it better. And you see, people are not bothered about what is the constitutional status, what is the what is the role of LG. They want results. And that will apply to this government as well. See, that because why I mentioned Tejinder Khanna and Sheila Dikshit was, you may belong to even to the same dispensation, appointed by the same dispensation. Their differences could still crop up. But whoever is the chief minister or whoever is LG will have to appreciate because Delhi is a very peculiar situation. It's not a full-fledged state. There are limitations to the powers of the Delhi government. Delhi being the capital. So these are the things that will have to be kept in mind. Yes, the challenges are there, but at the same time, to begin with, there will be some honeymoon period which will allow, because people know that immediately they do not expect things to change, say, tonight itself. But they will definitely see how Rekha Gupta manages her team, what she does on the ground, and what are the first decisions, how they are being rolled out. So the challenge is huge, but the final test will be delivery.
Mr. Iyer, you spoke about this a little bit. You've spoken about the sort of things that went wrong when Aam Aadmi Party was in power, especially with respect to the LG. And you said that now the LG will have a more of a monitoring role. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Maybe on what sort of a role do you see the LG playing now, and how do you see that playing out with the BJP?
No, even in the previous dispensation, Apoorva, whatever decisions were taken, and finally the LG had to, authorize several things, whether it is expenditure, whether it is budgeting, or deployment of staff, and all that. The decisions were taken by the elected government. But when it came to personnel, following that Supreme Court judgment and central government bringing that amendment, so LG has a role in all these things. But at the same time, the LG's role will also be, because LG's office is going to play a kind of a connector between the Delhi government and the PMO. Constantly, we can be sure that the Prime Minister is going to keep a watch on Delhi. And he is given Rekha Gupta a chance, going by her track record as a corporator, as a person who enjoys a reputation of being deeply interested in improving civic affairs in the areas she has represented. So these are the qualities why she has been given. So once schemes are announced, schemes are implemented, and a lot of heads are going into it. Because I was told already, people who conceived the Sabarmati riverfront in Gujarat, they have already been contacted and they have been asked to work out a master plan for the Yamuna riverfront. And that plan will have sewage treatment plants, because we have had very good experts, telling us what is the problem with Yamuna pollution. The one, there is already the pollutants in the river, and the other is the nalas which are feeding Yamuna. All the nalas from the city which are feeding Yamuna, you will have to treat them at that source itself. Because so the master plan that is being worked out will have a series of treatment plants, sewage disposal plants. A lot of things are on the pipeline. So that will be a long-term project, but at least in a year or two, the Prime Minister expects results and wants results. And LG's role will be to see that all these ideas which are being conceived they are implemented, and the Chief Minister and a team of officials, as well as the Delhi administration, is able to do what it has to do, and you're going to see that happen.
Right. Mr. Iyer, if you remember, after the BJP had won Bihar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had addressed party workers from the BJP headquarters, and I remember he had used the term silent voters for the women voters. And from then till now, we have seen how women have sort of shaped BJP's, sort of victories in election after election. And now we see a woman, chief minister. Currently, this is the only state that the BJP has a woman CM. How significant do you think women voters have emerged? How significantly do you view them? And at the same time, why do you think BJP is focusing so much on women voters, especially this 2,500 rupees, promise, 21,000 rupees to pregnant women? We saw Ladki Bahin in Maharashtra, in Madhya Pradesh. So in a number of states, we see this focus on women voters. Why is that? Why do you think that the BJP is concentrating on women so much?
Neelam, if you recall, women empowerment has been, growing in terms of the importance. That is why in the previous Lok Sabha, they passed the women's reservation bill, 33% quota. And that is to happen in the next 5 years. Because the scheme of things is, first you have the census. After the census, there will be delimitation. And after the delimitation of parliamentary constituencies, you're going to have seats to be allotted for women reservation. So women reservation is going to be there. And that is why the importance of women has been not just because of elections and representation of women, also a factor today that more and more women are participating in elections. You've gradually seen how the figures, number of women voters have been rising, even in Delhi. I think though the 60.93 is women, and I think 60.25 or 29 is men. So there also you can see that more women voters are coming out to cast vote. Somewhere along, women feel that this, the importance of vote. And when they see that political parties are willing to address that issue, so gradually there is a more response. Now, initially, Prime Minister was against this kind of what he himself called it Revedi culture.
Right.
But the pressure within the party was, Neelam, was building up. It started building up after Congress won Himachal, Karnataka, and later Telangana. And BJP was not in a position to promise anything because Modi himself was against it. But because of that, then they had to do this, okay, let's try to see what can be made into a welfare measure and what is just plain rollout of money down the drain. And if we look at all the cabinet decisions in the second term, for instance, the Drone Didi, the Lakpati Drone Didi scheme, where women have been trained in the operation of drones for agriculture purposes. This is making tremendous difference in the rural side. And one more thing, Neelam, when it comes to women leaders, when it comes to women empowerment, getting women representative, whether panchayat level or the legislator or as a member of parliament, somewhere along you are able to break the caste barrier also. Because caste is normally associated with the male politicians. That is why in Tamil Nadu, you had a Brahmin leader like Jayalalitha being a face of a Dravidian party like AIADMK. Because caste never gets associated with women in politics. They are somewhat, able to break that tag that she's a. Though Rekha Gupta made it a point yesterday to emphasize that she's the first Baniya women CM of Delhi. She made it a point, but then nobody really took Rekha Gupta as a Baniya leader. Whereas when you talk about Vijendra Gupta, when you talk about Vijay Goyal, you talk about others, you always remember, oh, they belong to Baniya community, so they have a big influence. They are influencers. But when it comes to women leaders, there is normally the tendency of voters as well, that the caste tag is not so pronounced. So if BJP is paying more and more attention, it has realized that not in just terms of political benefits or windfall, also in terms of the social changes that you have to make, or you want to uplift people. If you want to pull more people out of poverty, you have to pull women much more. So in the planning, in the process, in budgeting, you are seeing a great emphasis happening. And not just with BJP, even other political parties are looking at it. But then Prime Minister is against the kind of problem that the Karnataka government is facing today. You promise a lot of things and you don't have the budget. Take for instance, even that free bus scheme. That's a big problem. And Maharashtra, they initially gave that 2,100 rupees to everybody in Maharashtra. All women got. Now they started scaling down, going through the application. Well, do they fit into that income criteria? Because there is a huge outgo in terms of expenditure. But women are, in the years to come, are going to play a great role, not just as a voter, but as leaders of their communities, of their areas, of their villages. And so you can see that focus is going to increase. And with the plan of bringing in, women's quota, that's why see, one thing, Neelam, I have noticed when Modi talks about, I want to bring 1 lakh young people to come into politics. He has been saying that so that we get fresh blood into politics. People who do not come from a particular family background. He has perhaps in mind this factor so that you can get more and more women out. And in some states, including Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, it's a challenge for political parties to find women representatives. So right now the task of some parties and BJP has realized it early that one day or the other this women's quota is going to come, and you must have enough leaders trained to fight elections to become representatives, whether as MLAs or as member of parliament. Right. So the emphasis on women is a long-term approach. Right. It has political benefits, but also at the same time it is necessary, I would say imperative, for a social economic progress.
Yeah, Mr. Iyer, one last question. Rekha Gupta has become the 4th woman chief minister of Delhi. If you talk about the BJP, we saw Vasundhara Raje. Before that, we saw Sushma Swaraj. What do you think worked for Rekha Gupta? Because we also had Shikha Roy, we had a number of other women leaders who could have been, given the role also. But what is it that worked specifically for Rekha Gupta?
As I said in my opening remarks, Rekha Gupta has a track record of handling issues, particularly civic issues, in terms of public grievance, in terms of responding to people's problems. She has built up that kind of reputation. And as she often said, mere kaam se meri pehchan hai, which means she has a lot of energy, and Prime Minister has been looking for somebody who will have that energy. Because energy is very important in a political leader. And the Prime Minister wants so many things to be done in Delhi that he cannot, doesn't mean that other leaders don't have, but then in his estimation, because the choice of Rekha Gupta was not just Modi's choice. A lot of internal discussions have happened in which Amit Shah was involved, JP Nadda was involved, Rajnath was involved, several leaders were involved. And they have been assessing, and also Prabaris, the party Prabaris, party in charges, they have been looking at, because it could have been, anybody could have been Delhi CM with the same supervision. But here Prime Minister was looking someone who will, put in that kind of energy and enthusiasm, because it is enthusiasm that makes the difference. And Rekha has lots of that enthusiasm. A kind of enthusiasm you saw in Vasundhara when she became Chief Minister for the first time. That's how she managed a second term also, because of that enthusiasm. And enthusiasm is all that difference makes. And as I said earlier, Neelam, when you project a women Chief Minister or a women leader, the caste factor can be largely diluted. That is why Vasundhara Raje, in a highly caste conscious society like Rajasthan, Vasundhara factor helped at that time. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu, I mentioned the Brahmin Jayalalitha, heading a Dravidian party, which was born in Periyar movement. So there is a way to look at this, is the fact that Rekha Gupta will be more seen as a women Chief Minister, and her success in Delhi, if finally we can see things change in Delhi, that will be showcased like Gujarat model was showcased when Modi first contested elections in 2014. So in the coming 2029 parliamentary election, Modi would perhaps like Delhi model to be showcased. Look, this is what we can do. We can get new leaders, we can get new ministers, we can have women chief ministers to do the job. Because Modi's plan is a long-time plan. It's not just about vanquishing Aam Aadmi Party or Kejriwal. Neelam.
Right. Thank you so much for that analysis and for unpacking these latest developments for us, Mr. Iyer. On that note, we've reached the end of this episode of Political Adda. Thank you so much to all our viewers watching, and do let us know in the comments section if you have any questions or if you have any issues that you want us to take up in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.